This podcast is produced by the Harwood Productions Podcast Network. To learn more about the network and to find more of our shows, visit us online at www.harwoodpodcast.com.
Hello there everyone, I'm Cameron Harris and this is In Range episode number 15. Today we're going to be talking about spotting patterns in your blood sugars. Now when I say a pattern, I mean a time of day when your blood sugars are consistently high or consistently low day after day. Say before dinner you're usually coming in high, that would be a pattern. A pattern is always consistent, but it's not always the easiest thing to spot. And the main reason for this is that it's kind of difficult to visualize all of your blood sugar numbers for a day, for weeks at a time even, all spread out in front of you, and then be able to recognize a pattern. So let me show you some of the ways that I use to kind of make that a little bit easier. Now, pretty much every modern meter these days has a built-in logbook function where it actually records numbers and keeps them for several months. But the problem with that is that you're looking at that on about a 2-inch screen, and it's really pretty difficult to visualize those numbers most of the time. You're usually scrolling through them one at a time in a list. Doesn't really make it easy to spot patterns that way. Now, something that I will often do if we think, well, is there a pattern? Is there not a pattern? We will occasionally just grab a piece of paper and start taking note of my numbers manually. So what we'll do is we'll basically draw a little chart with times, usually about every hour or so, and then the numbers below that. Now, if you want to get high-tech, you could, of course, use the same principle just in a spreadsheet on a computer. That would work too. Or if you want to get really high-tech, some meters allow you to plug the meter into a computer and then download the numbers that way. Now that usually requires special software provided by the meter company, and in my experience the software isn't always compatible with your computer, and this is just me personally, but it's never really worked very well. It's never been very easy to kind of figure out. Now, this has become my preferred way of logging all of my numbers and checking for patterns. It's a free application for my iPod Touch. It works with an iPod or an iPhone. It is called Wavesense. It is quite possibly the coolest thing I've ever used for my diabetes logging. Basically what you do is you use the touchscreen on the iPod Touch to enter in all of your numbers. Now, you can enter in not only your blood sugars, but you can also enter in carbs and even insulin dosage. Now, if you're a type 2 diabetic and you don't take insulin, don't worry, there's actually a setting you can just turn off the insulin features, make it so that it works for you. What's really great about it as well, and something that most meters don't do very well, is that you can add notes to your numbers as well as your dosages. So, for example, you could say, oh, I miscalculated a carb, that's why I'm high, or I went low because I went running, for example, some kind of an exercise. Or there was a problem with the site, that's why this is high. And you can even email all of this stuff to your doctor or yourself in a nice little email. Now, the reason you might want to email a report of your numbers to your doctor is because, well, in my case, my doctor has had a lot of experience looking for problems in a spreadsheet, basically. And she always finds patterns that we haven't really noticed that are just too subtle. It's like, oh, you're coming in a little bit high at dinner. Let's adjust this band, for example. And even just emailing it to yourself, it makes it a little bit easier to spot patterns on a big computer screen rather than a 3.5-inch iPod screen. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that you want to go with a pattern that is longer than a day. Right? A pattern isn't a pattern unless you have at least 2 days of data. And once you see that, once you've come in high just before dinner, 2 days in a row, you're pretty sure that's a pattern. So you can go ahead and make a change for that. This application is fantastic for that because one of the things it has is being able to view all of your numbers in a nice timeline. It's really fantastic, and it's very graphical, very visual. I really like it. So until next time, you can visit us online at www.harwoodpodcast.com. There we have the show notes, the forums if you want to participate in the community, and I'll also have a link to this application that I just showed you in iTunes so you can download it. If you have any questions or comments for us, you can also send me an email at harwoodpodcast@comcast.net. I'll catch you guys later, and good luck staying in range.